Hey, BookTube Science Fiction Reads here with a few recent reads and a few new books. So first up, at this point I read this quite a while ago, so my memory is not great, but my first John Rackham, this is the Anything Tree. This was short and pretty damn fun. The protagonist is a mid-20s woman named Selena Ash, who seems like she's a socialite or like kind of a aristocrat. She's on like a leisure planet, I think, but you get little hints that she's actually acting. She's kind of like an agent for this organization, this kind of galaxy-spanning organization, and she's trying to get some information or something. But the story kicks off when she's heading back to Earth and her ship is sabotaged. She comes out of like hyperdrive near a previously undiscovered planet. She lands there, and there's only one other human on the planet, and he's a weird guy. He's somebody who went missing in the past, and he walks around with this flower that's native to the planet that speaks to him, and he speaks to it, kind of thing. The people who may have sabotaged Selena Ash's ship arrive, and she has to team up with this guy on the planet and evade capture and solve a couple mysteries, and it was good. I'll be looking out for any other John Rackhams that I come across. Next up, Stanislaw Lem, The Invincible. This is my first Lem. This is a Ace Science Fiction special. I love these, and you could find a much better review on Richard's channel. I imagine he would have reviewed this. But this was cool. And let me just see when this was published. 1967 was when the German edition was published. So this is an English translation of a German translation, so kind of a weird place to start with Lem, who's Polish, of course. But this has some really good early nanotech. These people land on a planet to find out what happened to the previous ship that was sent there and all the people. They find this spaceship just sitting on this kind of desert plain, and the crew who are left, most of them disappeared or are kind of dead outside the ship, and the ones that are left in the ship are all dead as well. So it's a mystery. How did they die? It's called The Invincible because the ship that follows is built to withstand kind of anything. They walk around with force shields, keeping them separate from the environment of the planet as they try to solve the mystery of what happened. And peppered throughout is kind of, you get the backstory of this thing that's on this planet. That was the funnest part for me, is not so much what is the thing that is killing the humans, but what is its origin was really cool. This was kind of dark and moody and had some great hard SF elements, so I enjoyed my first Lem. Then I read Edmund Hamilton's The Sun Smasher, and I read it because I recently got a bunch of old pulp magazines, and what really drew my eye to them in the online ad I saw was this copy of Universe from 1954 with Edmund Hamilton's Starman Come Home on the front, and I framed it because I absolutely love that. Although with all these bookshelves in this room, I actually have like no wall space, so I don't know where to put this. But The Sun Smasher is a retitling of Starman Come Home. So it was just a good, fun, pulpy adventure of, your average guy on Earth who finds out his heritage is more than he realized, and he's swept into this galactic adventure to find an ancient weapon called the Sun Smasher, and then he has to decide whether or not to use this technology to defeat some enemies that are mostly off-screen kind of thing. It was not the best Hamilton I've read, but this is some early Hamilton, like that was from 1954. And it's basically just a novella, but it was fun. And on the other side is Starhaven by Ivar Jorgensen, which was a pen name used by a few different people. That might be a Robert Silverberg story, I'm not sure. So that was fun, and yeah, I love the cover art for that, so I framed it. I just don't have anywhere to put it at the moment. Then I read some George Zebrowski, The Monadic Universe. This is a short story collection. Now, I've read 4 George Zebrowski novels, maybe 5, and they were all, well, one of them was a laser book, and it was not very great, but not many laser books are. His trilogy, I can't think of the name at the moment, I read and really enjoyed many, many years ago, but this was my first short stories by Zebrowski, and I was shocked. This guy can write some really like literary, heart-wrenching stories, what it means to be human, love and loss, really deep writing. I was very surprised. And let me see, I think the title story, yeah, The Monadic Universe, was my favorite, and I thought it was absolutely fantastic. I think it's 3 different ships leave Earth as, you know, some disaster's destroying the planet. They all go into hyperspace, and I think they left so quickly that the technology to get out of hyperspace or arrive safely wherever they're going didn't exist yet, so they need to solve those problems en route or something. But once they're in hyperspace, reality starts changing around them, and they realize that once you're in hyperspace, your mind kind of sets the limits for reality, and they need to decide what kind of reality they're going to return to. And it gets extra complicated because presumably this is what's happening on the 2 other ships. We only follow a few characters on one of the 3. And yeah, reality basically ceases to exist for them, and they need to recreate it, kind of thing. It was really out there, but it was really good. And this has what I later learned is one of his more famous stories, The Word Sweep, which is a story wherein some plague hits humanity where every word you say manifests physically. And what would the world look like if every time you spoke, you were littering with words? There would be, you know, laws imposed on how much you can speak, silence police. It was really neat. But I was so blown away by this that I downloaded my first book on the Kindle app, because I do not like reading off of a screen. But I'm halfway through his massive collection, Swift Thoughts, which I've just been treating myself, reading them one or 2 here or there, because they are just fantastic. And so far the standout in that collection would probably be The Idea Trap, where I don't know if we're on far future Earth or a different planet, but humans are basically hunter-gatherers, and they live off the dreams of other humans who live in this isolated citadel where long ago they cybernetically set themselves up to just, again, kind of dream and create their own reality. But the dreams they create are edible, and the hunter-gatherer humans, the ones that are left on the outside of the citadel, hunt down and kill and eat the dreamers' dreams. Really wild, but really good. The guy, his short story prose is incredible. I can't wait just to read every short story of his. And another one in the collection Swift Thoughts involves alien contact. And this sounds ridiculous, but contact is made by Larry from the Three Stooges. I can't remember his last name. Larry Fiennes? Larry from the Three Stooges manifests out of nowhere. And people are wondering, is this a hoax? Is this just a really good actor? It seems to be the actual real Larry from the Three Stooges, who's long been dead. They bring in Carl Sagan and some other people to question this guy and realize that this is an alien intelligence that has possibly picked up our radio waves, TV waves, and is trying to communicate to us through one of the Three Stooges. And it sounds ridiculous, but it was actually a pretty good story. So I don't have enough good things to say about Zebrowski's short stories. I'm going to be looking for more. And his novels as well, but he's not somebody I find a lot of. I believe he was in a long-term relationship with Pamela Sargent, and I was actually sorry to see, pretty sad to see that he just passed away, I think last December, which I hadn't heard. So kind of a shame to only just now be realizing I really like his work, and he's just passed away. And that leaves me with the last thing I read, The Best of Frederick Pohl, which I won't go into because there's a great video on Richard's channel. The first time we did a best of live, and that was different and fun. I think we all really enjoyed The Best of Frederick Pohl, and it was my turn to pick the next book. So I chose The Best of James Blish. Not sure when we're going to read this and talk about it, so I'm not yet picking it up. So that's what we'll read next. I haven't read anything in the last like 2.5 or 3 weeks, really, aside from just recently starting, not an audiobook, but a short story, John W. Campbell's Frozen Hell. I found that on Spotify, and that is the recently found longer version of his Who Goes There, which Alec Neville Lee, I think that's his name, found that and had it published. So really cool that was just sitting around in some archives, and now it's been published. It's called Frozen Hell, and it's like 3.5 hours or something, and so far it's good. I really enjoyed Who Goes There. So and that is what I've read. Actually, I did start, in my last video, I had a big book haul. I think her name was Patricia Anthony, which was a new to me author. There was a short story collection in there called Eating Memories. I read the first one the other day. I'm taking it on me with on a plane flight later today. I'll probably read some of that over the next week, and have it finished by the time I get home, maybe. And on to a small book haul here. A lot of things that I already had, but I grabbed them to upgrade books I have on my shelves. These are just in better condition. The Bertram Chandler books of Commodore John Grimes. I've seen Daw has released a bunch of these back in the 70s as single stories, but Ace, I think in the 70s or 80s, released these compilations. I think there's 5 of these. I have 3. I bought this thinking I didn't have it, but I actually do, and it's not in the best of shape. I haven't read any of the Commodore John Grimes stuff. To me, I always thought it was probably some pulpy, maybe not great stories, but that's totally an unfounded opinion because I haven't read anything yet. I have read some of his short stories long time ago in different various anthologies, and I did enjoy those. So that's something I need to get to. I found this absolutely amazing condition copy of Larry Niven's The Integral Cheese, which I have not read yet, but that will replace my old rough beat up copy. So I was quite pleased to find that. That is, yeah, the first in a 2-book series, followed by The Smoke Ring. I did try reading this once and couldn't wrap my head around the geometry of the environment they're living in, even with the maps provided. But I will get to it someday, as I do love Larry Niven. Then I found, again, a really nice copy of Frank Herbert's The God Makers. This is an old Berkeley. I don't think I've read any Frank Herbert, probably not even a short story. I bought that to replace the copy I have, which is trash. a Frederick Pohl here, I guess co-written with Thomas T. Thomas. This is Mars Plus. I'm guessing some kind of sequel to Man Plus, which I DNF'd a couple of years ago, but we'll get around to reading it one of these days, especially since we just read the best of Frederick Pohl, and I quite enjoyed it. Then a book I've never come across before, never seen this online or anywhere, the Best Science Fiction of Isaac Asimov, released by Signet. I found this rough copy in a little free library outside of a wedding reception. So that was neat. And then just a couple days later at a thrift store, I found the same book, this time released by Rock Science Fiction, in much better condition. So I will donate the rougher condition copy. And a few more Isaac Asimovs. The Union Club Mysteries. 30 very short mysteries. I've heard of these, but never come across the book or even seen anybody talk about them. But they're all set up the same way. A bunch of like aristocrats sitting around a room smoking and drinking or something, and then this guy in the corner, I think Griswold, wakes up all the time out of a nap or something and will give him a short mystery. And I think at the end of the book or the end of each story, the answer to each mystery is provided. So that's pretty neat. I only grabbed it because it was cheap and in very good shape. Asimov is, of course, one of those guys I collect everything I find, if it's not too much. So another one here, The Big Son of Mercury, the 4th Space Ranger novel. I think this is like a juvenile series he wrote. I can't remember if I have any of these or not. If I do, certainly not in this livery, from Hodder and Stoughton. So yeah, and there's a list there of the previous 3 or so. Just a few more. Here's something a little different. I can't remember why I grabbed this, but then over the next few days I found a couple more, so I grabbed them too. John D. MacDonald's Travis McGee stories, A Purple Place for Dying. They just kind of sounded interesting, or at least this one did, so that I grabbed it, and then I grabbed a couple others. Travis McGee, from what I could tell, is kind of like a private detective troubleshooter guy that you hire to help you with a situation outside of court, basically. Money under the table kind of thing. So, and I know John D. MacDonald is like a popular, regarded author, but, you know, this is not my kind of genre. I haven't read anything like this. They just sounded interesting. So I grabbed a few more. Bright Orange for the Shroud. They all have, these Travis McGee titles, a color in the title. One Fearful Yellow Eye. Will I ever read them? No idea, but they just kind of sounded interesting and fun. My last book haul, I had an Eric Brown, and here's another, Helix. This is like a giant space opera, I think. He's an author I've been wanting to look up, or read for a while now. And at this point, I've got 4 of his books, so I think the time is near that I finally give him a try. Then this nice Timescape edition, David Langford, The Space Eater. The blurb on the back sounded really awesome. These 2 characters trying to stop something that's gone wrong in the dead of space. And the main character has already died 46 times trying to fix this problem or something like that. Really cool art. See if we have credit for that, because it's actually really, really nice. I don't think we do. This is from 1983. And it looks like a previous version was released in 1979. Chapter 1 anyway. So yeah, I love these old timescapes. I've never read any David Langford, and this one looks and sounds intriguing. 2 more. We got an old Daw Yellow Spine by Manning Norval, not someone I've heard of. Kind of a Conan ripoff. Odan the Half-God, Dream Chariots. This was what? It says $3. I don't think I paid $3. Never heard of the author or the book, but could be good. Maybe. It's hard to pass up a cheap DAW. This one's from '77, and it's one of the few that doesn't have an illustration in the front, which sucks. I always like the illustrations, but just a random there. And rounding it out, this big hardcover edited by Greenberg and a couple other people, 101 science fiction stories, which could pop up on my eBay. I don't know. I don't really care for random anthologies, but again, I paid next to nothing for this, and it's in really nice shape. The majority of these must be short, though, because to fit 100 stories in here is pretty nuts. The contents is 4 or 5 pages long, but you've got tons of stuff in here. Philip K. Dick, Randall Garrett, Silverberg, Asimov, Frederick Pohl, but then also just lots of people I'm not even familiar with, which is why I was intrigued by it. So yeah, just a curio I thought I'd pick up. Martin Greenberg must have edited a record amount of anthologies, because I have many by him. And that's it. I am off to Alberta for a wedding. I'm going to be gone for 9 days, and you better believe I will be checking out thrift stores and bookstores wherever I go. I'll be an hour north of Calgary and all over the area, so if you are aware of any good bookstores anywhere near Calgary, feel free to let me know, and I will check them out. Anyways, as always, thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.